Welcome back, Jammers. It's been a hot minute, but we've been through some stuff. It's me, Jason. I'm here with Mandy. I'm here with Adrian. Last I heard, there was a big winter storm in Texas.
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
Yeah, so on Valentine's Day, to the day, if you lived in Texas and you had the unfortunate circumstance of not having power, I'm sure Valentine's Day was not as romantic as you were planning.
Romance? Well, I mean, it could have been. But it could have been a forced romance, right? The lights were out, so you had to use a candle in order to eat. So if that wasn't in the cards, it was then.
Now that I have put the pieces together, I can assume that the Dallas skyline was still lit up because of all the buildings having a Valentine's Day special and all the entitled assholes that would ruin these businesses for shutting down on Valentine's Day.
Entitled assholes? You mean like Ted Cruz going to Mexico?
No, Cancun.
Cancun?
Because that was appropriate when he decided to just bye.
So
Yeah, the kids are out a week. They asked to go. Why not?
Just conveniently happened to be on the same day.
you know,
No, I already had plans for this week.
you know.
I mean, I could understand that if almost the whole fucking state of Texas didn't have any power and no water.
You know?
I could say, okay, go ahead and go. But shouldn't you, like, do something for your constituents?
No.
For the people who voted you
While
in?
I agree, I will disagree because I don't think there was much he could have did.
He could have
volunteered.
Yep.
He could have,
Which he did when he got back.
5 days later,
Handing out water and stuff, but
Wow.
what volunteering could he have done when the power was out?
he could
make
have...
sure people are being ushered into areas that do have power instead of letting people
homeless
freeze.
find places to stay so they don't freeze. He could help set up places like they did at the college down here, like in the gym. Set up places for elderly people and other people to go to so they wouldn't freeze to death or wouldn't starve. He could have went to hospitals.
Delivered food.
So,
Used his power as a state leader to start a conversation about revamping our energy grid at the moment when legislators are the most willing to listen.
Look into, okay, why didn't they weatherproof when they were told to instead of not weatherproofing when they were told to? Well,
okay,
if they knew
sure.
2 weeks ahead of this of time for this storm, whether it would have hit or not, they should have taken precautions. Why weren't those precautions taken? Even if there was no storm, at least precautions were taken.
Yes, and while I agree to all of that, I'm not sure that there was much of anything that could have been done during those 5 days.
No, but there was a lot that could have been done. I mean, we have fucking Beto that lost out to the guy making phone calls to the, like, numbers of elderly people in the phone book to make sure, you know, they have someone. Like, phone lines weren't, well, were they down? I don't know. I know people were getting checked on.
our phone lines were spotty as all get out for that week. So...
Yes, but there are things that he could have done.
He just decided to fuck it all and go on vacation.
Okay, well, sure, but nonetheless, I mean, you point at one person, there's a whole other mess of things behind this. So it all starts with Bush, when he was governor, and deregulating all of the unions and all that stuff. So it free enterprised all of the electrical companies, but that also made it where they were pumping out power and they could care less about upgrading the infrastructure, upgrading the power grids, or any of that stuff. So that's where this all came from. If
Which
you want to be real
doesn't
about
make it better.
Maybe look
Sure, it doesn't make it
into
better.
the governors since then, why they haven't stepped up and done it. Even fucking Greg Abbott said they were not checking up on ERCOT, or whatever the fuck it is.
No, yeah, I can
They weren't
imagine.
checking up on them to make sure they were following what they were supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
So
Oh,
Now-
he's got his ass in a sling. Let's not be...
I think at this point, even if he does, and even if something's done about it, and even if he can show people step by step what he's done to fix it, I still think he'll have a really hard time getting reelected.
I think when it comes to the Ted Cruz versus Greg Abbott thing, but of course, as politicians, they're both equally to blame in here. I think it's a matter of the fucking audacity you have to have while millions of people are suffering to just book a flight and go to Cancun. Because fuck, not my problem, even though it's part of his job.
Okay, while I agree, one's a state representative, one is the governor of Texas. So there is a bit of a difference there.
Does Ted Cruz live in Texas?
Does he live in Texas?
Does he? He flew to fucking Mexico, and people were like, his kids were out of school because no school, so I'm going to say he probably lives in Texas somewhere. Then it's your problem. If you're a representative of a state, it's your problem.
While I agree, I just don't see what he could have done to help.
What would you have done to help?
What? There's nothing I could have done.
Adrian, what would you have done to help?
Actually, we could have very easily gone to help warming centers and to get homeless off the street. I mean, people were grouping up to help others. So.
Oh, absolutely.
There's actually quite a lot we could have done.
I agree, there is a lot we could have done. We were still asked out without power for 72 hours.
He may not have been able to go and say,
we're not
turn the power on, or whatever. He may not have been able to do that. But, I mean, you even had the Attorney General of fucking Texas helping. And he was at home without power, without water, just like the rest of us. And he was saying, we're looking into this. I am personally looking into this. We need to get this figured out and all of this. And this is not going to be swept under the rug. And I don't know if he actually went out and helped or whatever. But at least he started saying something to help.
So if Ted Cruz blew a bunch of hot air like the state attorney,
it would have still looked better than flying his happy ass to Cancun.
Because at least he stayed his ass in his house.
Solidarity to stay in the same conditions that everyone else is in right now. I mean,
well, sure, I guess, but I think you're pointing fingers at the wrong thing, right? That's the whole thing with Trump. Everybody pointing fingers at Trump, but you miss all of the bad that was out there.
While I do not disagree, like I said, it comes down to the audacity of this man. It's just ridiculous, like, considerably speaking. Like, fucking, he's a politician. You stay where you are, you talk to the people you need to talk to get this problem fixed, and you start trying to help instead of running away from the problem. Quite literally.
Okay, fine. If you're gonna bury Ted Cruz, are we gonna bury the people that left the Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio skylines lit up?
Yes!
We're not talking about them. What are their names?
We don't know. They're not politicians.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting.
And what pisses me off is the game, the Stars hockey game, did not get canceled until right before playtime.
In about 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And it was the mayor of Dallas that called up and said, do not do this game.
And how much power does a hockey game take to run?
But yet,
a lot.
And an empty stadium.
You gotta
to an empty stadium.
Ice frozen.
Yeah. So you have power going to that. You have power going to the skylines. When you could have killed that and probably helped out quite a bit.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Absolutely.
In all of this huge
how
cities.
much power all those pretty lights take to run.
Well, we don't want a total blackout. It needs to be lit up some. Give me a break.
Yeah,
No,
like stop.
But I think the main focus needs to be on the ERCOT.
Absolutely.
And them not spending a penny on any upgrades. And when was Enron and Bush? When was that? 96? 94?
That's a
When
hot
Enron
minute.
crashed out and all that stuff and got Bush. The only reason Bush deregulated everything, this George W. Bush, our last Bush president. So he was the Texas governor, and whoever the Enron leader was talked him into deregulating all of the electrical services in Texas and de-unionizing it too, and set it up to how it is now. And that gave those people the chance to just pump power out at quote-unquote cheap prices while not taking any steps to maintain or upgrade the actual infrastructure of the electricity.
Yeah, there's a story out that says that they weren't doing upgrades, they were just pushing the old equipment as far as they could before it broke. They wouldn't. You can't fix things and upgrade things and still get a huge fucking bonus. You can't do that.
Nope. So while Ted Cruz's shit was dumb, that he went to Cancun, him staying here and doing what he's doing now and talking about it, I don't think there's a bit of difference. Does he talk about it 3 days earlier? What do you do?
Let's talk about the fact that we knew the storm was coming weeks beforehand and was told how to fix the problem.
That is not Ted Cruz's problem. That is ERCOT's problem.
You want your state representatives to be speaking up about issues like this
sure.
while they're happening, not after the fact, after he flies Cancun, then comes back.
While he was in Mexico, was he saying anything about what was happening in Texas?
I don't know. I wasn't following the story. I could give a shit less when Ted Cruz went to Cancun. That matters not. It helps. It doesn't help, and it doesn't hurt where he went when we all didn't have power. He had no power. He had no authority. He has nothing that he could have done to help the people that didn't have power. Nothing.
So what is he pushing for now? The same thing everyone else is doing?
Investigations. Federal investigations into the state of Texas. Not the state of Texas investigating itself. Which is like finger banging your ass while you're jerking off. There's no difference.
What? Explain.
Do we really want him to?
Yep.
The state of Texas.
No, the finger banging and the jerking off part.
Is this something you know about?
Listen, it's the state
what
of Texas.
What makes that not equivalent?
That's the state of Texas investigating itself.
No, this is not what I'm asking.
You're just doing it to yourself.
You're avoiding the question.
You put it out, and then that's it. This is the findings of our investigation. We've done nothing wrong. We will upgrade our infrastructure over the next 50 years.
My thing is...
You didn't explain what I wanted to do.
So is this a lot of talk right now, and is it going to eventually get swept under the rug when the next big thing comes up?
Probably.
What? Black Lives Matter?
That hurt on a personal level.
Oh, I bet. It's funny how it's gone off of mainstream media so quickly.
No,
You think, hey, look, we got a Democratic president. Everything's fixed now.
I think a number of the right kind of people are still talking about it because they know Democratic does not fix racism.
We're still talking about it. We'll still bring it up.
Hey, black people are still facing systematic racism. Don't forget, daily PSA.
That's right. Well, that's like us. 72 hours without power. It'd come on for what? 5, 10, 20 minutes and then turn right back off for another 8 to 12 hours.
Yeah. And
which is the opposite 10, 15, of what it should have done. Rolling out should have been 15 minutes of being out. And
on top of that, your if you don't have a set fixed wattage amount, they can charge you whatever.
A fixed rate.
Yes. And there are some people, some families getting charged over $2,000. I saw one where they said they were being charged $9,000 their electric bill.
Oh my
because
fucking
it's
God.
so much. It's like so many dollars per megawatt.
Who was it? It was someone in Texas. I forget who it was. Some company, and they're in that boat, like $2,500 to keep the electricity on.
And it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, so we get railroaded by the weather and fucked over by the company supposed to be running it. And then to top it off, we get even more screwed because you're paying out the ass. And And they want their money up front. There's no pay on this. It's up front.
We'll break the payments out over the next couple of months.
So some elderly person making what, $1,000 a month and living off that has a $9,000 fucking electric bill. How the hell are they going to pay that off? And then not only that, it just was announced yesterday that they made this a national emergency or whatever. They just declared it a national emergency. Maybe do that while all the fucking power off, all through Texas. Maybe do it then.
Yeah.
Maybe not wait until after it's, all the powers come back on for most people, and most people have water now. Maybe have some, decency? A clue? What? Were they all fucking in Cancun? That they didn't make it a fucking national emergency at the time?
You know.
I don't know.
I think we need to rename ERCOT to ECOT because reliability is in their name, and that is
No
very unsavvy.
None.
It's like the where the name of the restaurant or whatever, like McDonald's, and one of the letters is out. The R is not on at this point.
Right.
It has no electricity. So let's talk about how 5 of the members are not even don't even live in Texas. Not that they're from Texas. They don't even live in Texas, and they are on the board. They were elected to be on the board of members for this company.
5 of the 15. So one's Canadian, or one lives in Canada, excuse me. One is California, one is Illinois, one is Michigan, and one is another one. I've forgot. It just slipped my mind.
Massachusetts,
maybe
Michigan,
Maryland.
I don't know. Something.
Maryland,
Was it
maybe.
Florida? Why do I feel like it was Florida?
I don't know, but the one in California, he's a professor in like some college in the United States, but he's also a professor or something like that in Germany.
Right.
And his address is just in California. So he may not even be in the country.
Shit.
I know that so another little swerve, but I know that the governor of Houston is saying that the state of Texas should pay for the electrical bills for the month.
They absolutely fucking should.
Yeah, they should.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, this is all stuff that could have been prevented.
Yes.
I mean,
the ERCOT themselves should have to pay for those electricity bills, simply because you are responsible for this happening. You did not upgrade. You did not make weatherproof it like you were told to do. You did not make sure it was going to work and not crash during any storm.
Right. So I've seen reports of people from $5,000 to $17,000 electrical bills. Freaking insane.
People are saying that it's because they had to buy like electricity from like other sources, and they're charging the customers for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's your shit that failed, so you should have to pay for it.
Absolutely have to pay for it.
Now, what else is there? So the people that had natural gas heaters and water heaters and that kind of stuff,
their bills went up.
Their bills went up because they were saying that Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has his little fingers in a bunch of the natural gas companies, and he made $5 million this week.
That's so gross.
From this winter storm.
And like, but those prices are normal. Like your gas bill is going to be normal for you just using extra of it. It's not being price gouged and inflated. Like,
I think there is a price. Well, I don't call it a price gouge. Supply and demand. Demand for the gas, so prices went up.
Right, no, that's what I mean. But I think the electricity is more of a gouging.
Here's what I'm saying. They put out a deal saying, here's a form, here's a number. If you suspect any price gouging, call this number and report it. I think every fucking Texan should call that number and report the electric company and the gas company.
Oh, absolutely.
And say, price gouging.
But someone else also told me that attorney was under federal investigation, so I don't know anymore. I have to check. I didn't look.
I'd be hard pressed to believe that those calls to the price gouging people or whatever forms you fill out on the internet don't go to some junk box and never
I'm
get
sure
seen.
they do.
It's fucking government to just put this here. They'll spend all this time calling this number. We won't have to bother with it.
That's like if an employee asked where the comment box is and you send them down the road to...
Oh, yeah. When they bring us useless paperwork, we say file it. And then when we say file it, it means in the shred box.
Shred, yeah. So, I don't know. It seems... It's crazy to have that information and to not de-winterize your stuff.
Did nothing for it. I mean, and when you really think about it, they know this was coming. They knew this would probably cause issues. Now they're charging us for it. And even if they don't charge you too much, you do that to millions of people, you're going to pull in a profit.
Oh, absolutely.
Was it up to 4.5 million people were without power at some point during the storm?
Mm-hmm.
You put $10-15 on everybody's electric bill increase.
Yeah.
I mean,
you went from paying a few cents a wattage or whatever it's called to paying $15.
Yeah.
And
God.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That hurts my brain.
If you're on a fixed rate, you're lucky. If you're on a non-fixed rate, on a variable rate, you are screwed.
And what day is it? It's still, I mean, it's been since the 14th. We're 6, 7, a whole week after that, and we're still seeing issues. Like, people still haven't gotten it together enough to fix this.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing inquiries into this. We're investigating all this and that. Their paperwork and computer software is probably up to date and saying, no, this is what it's showing. Go out and look at the fucking equipment and ask those fucking people that work on those things, what's the equipment look like? They will tell you.
Oh, well, I've heard that even the records show that the stuff hasn't been upgraded
Okay.
in a hot ass minute. So, because I've already seen news reports on it. So it's all old shit, and that's exactly what happened. They're wanting to make profit, so any upgrades that were needed weren't done. And there are no regulations by the state that required them to be updated.
Explain to me why you need 15 members on that board.
So, what the head of Enron whispered into George W. Bush's ear to help him get the presidential nomination was that it was all regulated and unionized by the state and controlled by the state, and everything was where it needed to be.
No, he decided he needed to spread.
So,
knock, knock, knock.
So everything was up to date. We would get power when we need it. We wouldn't have this blackouts or brownouts or any of that stuff. Now, Bush went with what he was told was that if you privatized it, the competition would drive the price down because everybody's trying to compete to get the most people signed up for their plans. And while there is some of that to be true, there is also, as we find out now, that there is a neglect of spending the money in order to update the wires, update the generators, update all of the things that hold on to the electricity in order to provide it to people when it's needed.
Okay, that is a lot of information and good information, but that did not at all even come close to my question. Why do they need 15 members on the board?
I'm still getting there.
Okay.
So, it's a long story. It's a big-ass process. what they did in Texas is what they essentially how Congress is, right? So we are somehow people are selected in order to be voted upon to be our representatives. So the same thing with the electrical thing. I haven't seen where they put the vote in or if they're appointed by elected officials, but basically it's set up to those 15 people are the quote-unquote appointed or elected people to run the electrical system for the state of Texas. So they represent us.
So is there like 15 districts?
Yes.
And they're over each district?
Correct.
Which one is over our district?
I don't know.
Because I would like to phone them up.
Yeah, probably the person that lives in Canada.
So, and in a turn of events, nobody is shocked. The conspiracy theorist community absolutely took this one and ran with it because it's green energy's fault that this happened.
Yes, I love this one.
No, I hate this. I hate this so much.
Why should we go back to coal?
It's the damn wind turbines. They're not moving because of the storm.
Okay. I am... Okay, so my stance on this is we should have green energy, we should have natural gas, we should have coals, we should have we should have it all. Because if we have if we have green energy, while you don't need natural gas,
well, that doesn't make sense.
Coal and all of that, if something like this had happened, even on a smaller scale, that can come in and that can help.
Yeah.
So I think you should have a mixture of them.
Yeah, I don't think a mixture of them is necessary. I mean, we have the resources, we might as well use them. But I think green energy can absolutely be up to date enough that stuff like this doesn't happen.
So
the wind turbines, if done properly, would have still been moving.
My cousin lives in Colorado. They have wind turbines.
Antarctica has wind turbines.
They have it. They have them winterized. Imagine that.
Surprise.
And his comment was, we have wind turbines and they haven't failed us. They haven't stopped going. So you explain to me, Texas, why yours stopped.
Well, it's weird because, who whispered to this community, you should blame green energy, not the money-hungry electrical companies?
It's because they closed the Keystone.
Because there's no green energy anywhere else in the country but Texas, apparently.
Right.
Damn, useless solar panels.
Okay. So, we have an old-ass house. And we do have both gas and electricity. When the electricity went out, we were lucky enough that we had the gas.
Just one gas one, but fuck, it worked.
It absolutely did. So I think each house, and I know some people don't like gas because the lines can break or whatever.
Oh, right.
And I get that.
It's a personal tip. It's until electricity gets its shit together, use gas.
Yeah.
If you have it.
I also think that every house should have a gas fireplace or a wood burning fireplace.
Oh, yes.
Because that would have helped. Now, there were people on Facebook asking for wood because they ran out of wood.
Right. Always have emergency wood.
And there was a lot of people. I have extra dirty. I have extra, $10 a stack, which is what it would usually go for.
Right, yeah.
So they weren't price gouging, and then you have people just giving it away to other people.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's fucking cold. You might be dying here.
Right, exactly. So, I mean...
At the very least, if you have somewhere you can safely burn a fire, just start burning shit.
So, my deal is, and this isn't about the conspiracy theory people, we can get back to that. My deal is,
cult, man,
do you other states fucking back off? Because if this would have happened to y'all states, I would be curious to know how many of your neighbors would have actually helped each other. You had absolute strangers, and this is why people say Texas is so great, because they come together, and they really do, especially in your small communities. You don't see it a lot, but I saw it a lot on Facebook, and there were someone going, I haven't heard from my grandma in 8 hours, and does anyone know anyone around this area that can go check on her? Yep, I'll send so-and-so, and they'd go check on her, gave her their phone, call your granddaughter.
Yeah.
And they did. And no one killed anybody.
That we know of.
That we know
right now, at the moment.
So,
there was a lot of snow, a lot of opportunity.
Snow melts.
Doesn't matter. That's not what I'm referencing.
But you had a lot of people coming together. So while this was a complete just clusterfuck disaster, you saw your communities come together.
Right, and I think it would have happened in any other state. I mean, if I were not from Texas and I saw this going on, I too would be heckling, because how do you let this happen?
Well, right.
This is ridiculous.
Call out who's responsible for it. Don't call out the state of Texas. Call out the fucking Enron or whatever the fuck they're called. Call out those bitches out for being fucking just greedy bitches.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I understand the heckling, so.
I mean, heckling is fine, but I mean, people were getting like my cousin did. Like, he was just calling people in Texas stupid, and
sometimes it goes too far.
Yeah.
It does. It does. And so,
are you being hateful at the correct people?
Yes.
Let's find out.
So I'm not. Okay, say what you want to, but you know, bitch at the people that caused this.
Right. That's kind of ridiculous.
So on your conspiracy theory thing.
Oh, that's it? Did we just have a bunch of nut jobs blaming green energy?
I work with someone whose mother lives in another state, and she actually had to come visit her daughter this past week because they have natural gas. And her gas company place caught on fire. Had a leak and caught on fire. So no one had gas.
Fuck. That's just bad luck.
And she's like, which is really funny because my stepdad is always like, was like, haha, where's your green energy now? Your wind turbines.
It's all broken.
She goes, your natural gas company exploded. I mean, where's your natural gas at?
Beautiful.
But I mean, shit happens.
It's
with all of
fucking
it.
amazing what people will blame just because they don't know and refuse to look.
Listen, if I can't get my news from Facebook, fuck it.
That hurts me.
I know.
That hurts me physically.
I know.
That Facebook tells me what the news is, and that's what I want.
Oh. There are people out there that really think like that, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
Bet your ass there are.
Oh, man.
My mom will say, did you see this? Did you hear that? I'm like, where did you see it? Well, this thing on Facebook. Did you see the actual report on it? Did you research it at all?
Nope.
Well, no? Okay.
Well.
Let's not believe it.
Don't share it. Do some research.
Oh, God.
And verify the news. And you almost have to do that on every single news outlet.
No, you do.
Even the ones on the TV.
And if you don't, you should.
Absolutely
You just should.
have
Because
to.
it is a not verified news story that they give you. It is an unverified news story. They're trying to be first to get it out there.
Gotta get that story.
And they get the clicks or they get the views. And then it's much easier for them to turn around and have a bad story and then just recant it and say they're sorry later on.
So, competitive journalism is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to journalism?
Yes.
And it is widespread in America.
You have a lot of people trying to make a quick buck.
How can I make the most money off of the news? This is not what we were supposed to be making. That's not what we use this for. Okay.
And
Well, we're not supposed to do it with hospitals either. Yeah, here we are.
Yet here we are. Yet the simple fact that should upset most Americans is that the news is politically biased to one side or the other.
Oh, of course, the news will
Absolutely.
play you
But people
like a fiddle.
don't even recognize it.
Right, but for the longest time, the same guy who owned CBS, which is like left, owned Fox, which is right.
I mean, yeah, why not
So-
have your money in both parties?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Don't sit there and go, well,
that's been a hot minute.
well, it may have been a hot minute, but he still owned them at the same time. And you still had left and right.
Right.
Fucking shit. So yeah, I mean, happy Valentine's Day. That was hella romantic. Let's do it again
awesome.
sometime.
I don't know, you had a lot of candles out.
Sexiest candles ever.
So many candles.
Freezing cold. Everything was hard.
So cold and hard.
God. Really set the mood in the dark.
Yeah. Can't see fucking anything when the candles go out.
Oh my god.
Pitch black.
And you have 4 pups on the couch.
Oh god.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We will see you again next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. We'll get more consistent now that the winter storm of darkness and death has
Snowpocalypse.
passed us. Snowpocalypse has
2021.
passed us by. All right, y'all. Bye.